I actually thought it might be AI generated.
But the image is real. The RCMP is now allowing Indigenous officers to wear the ribbon skirt as part of the dress uniform. But the move to advance cultural change has sparked outrage. Some people say the move is simply pandering, while others say, given the RCMP's history and reputation among Indigenous people, well, that makes this a bad look.
The RCMP, one of the first jobs that they had was to push the Indigenous people onto the reservations and force them to stay there. They had another job later on when they had to go to the communities, grab the children, and bring them to residential school and put the parents in jail if they didn't give up their children.
According to the Native Women's Association of Canada, ribbon skirts symbolize sacred traditions and are an embodiment of resilience to colonial cultural erasure. The RCMP says the move to add ribbon skirts came from Indigenous officers themselves. In a statement to CityNews, the RCMP says the idea came from the Women's Indigenous Network, noting there are 311 regular RCMP members who self-identified as Indigenous women, non-binary, or two-spirit. The statement adds, the ribbon skirt, a WIN-led initiative, supports employee pride, advances cultural change in the organization, and helps to build and mend relationships with Indigenous people and communities. Naguset, a Cree woman and 60s scoop survivor, says she understands why Indigenous women within the RCMP would want to wear the ribbon skirt, but feels the RCMP is passing the work of reconciliation off to Indigenous women.
If it's Indigenous-led, it means that the RCMP as an institution isn't doing the work. It's the Indigenous people that are putting this forward, that are making this initiative, that are, wearing the ribbon skirts. And the RCMP is like, yeah, it's good. Reconciliation.
Cultural transformation and reconciliation, it's not a cop in a ribbon skirt. It's the restitution of Indigenous land and life and the ending of state-sanctioned violence and systematic violence as we know it.
Assistant professor and Red River Métis woman Dr. Kristen Boss is writing a book on the history of policing. She says the RCMP's relationship with Indigenous peoples remains uncomfortable, adding that if police want to wear the ribbon skirt, more progress on reconciliation must happen.
If it was ever appropriate, it would be when these colonial institutions adopt and fulfill all 94 calls to action as set out in the TRC, as well as the calls to justice put forward in the final inquiry for missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls.
In Ottawa, Xiaoli Li, City News.